Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're gonna see how to do a couple of tests on the injectors and the fuel pressure sensor from this Mini One with 1.6 liters diesel engine. First, let's see the main components of this injection system. We've got here the high pressure fuel pump. Usually the pump will have a piston which will be pushed by the camshaft or the crankshaft, so they do not have an electric motor. The pressurized fuel will come out through this line, goes around here and comes out here. It will deliver pressurized diesel into this fuel rail. Then from the fuel rail we've got 4 outputs for each cylinder, for each injector. Each injector will have a 2-wire connector. These are going to open and close the injector very fast, and this is done obviously by the computer. And we've got here the fuel pressure sensor, which will detect how much pressure is inside the fuel rail. This sensor is going to also check if the high pressure fuel pump is delivering pressure on the fuel rail. This pressure sensor is not necessary for the car to run, but it's installed here for us to diagnose a lot easier if there is any problem with the fuel injection system. And you can visually inspect around the injectors. You shouldn't see any carbon buildup, and this injector looks quite clean because that will indicate a bad injector seal. Next to the tip of the injector, a copper seal, and that will prevent any blow-by gases to escape between the injector and the cylinder head. Now on this specific diesel engine we've got here as well a relay box and a fuse box. This is responsible only with the injection system, and for some reason BMW decided to have as well separate from the main fuse box the glow plug relay, which is kind of pretty cool because then you have separate points where you can inspect and focus on one issue only. Now let's have a look on some live data. I took a screenshot of the live data while the engine was running, and it was a load on the engine as well, it was not just idling. All the components on the engine will behave different when the engine is under a load. So we've got here the green line, which is for the fuel rail pressure, and you can see here a big spike. I still don't understand why is this spike here, because the load value was not yet anyway high. But then you can see the fuel rail pressure, it's coming along together with the calculated load value. It nicely follows up this line, which is exactly what you want to see. The pressure, it follows the blue line all the way until the end. So next let's see what values you need to read at the connector. There are just 3 wires here. Okay, we've got 0.3 volts. Let's go to the next one. Here we have almost 5 volts. I'm gonna move now from this wire to the middle one, and we've got again 4.63. Now I'm going to unplug the connector and see what values are gonna be without the sensor connected. Let's see, 4.9 volts again, 4.94. Now keep in mind that when the sensor was connected, these 2 pins were showing 0.3 volts. Now they are 4.9 volts, 4.9 volts again. And let's see, between the middle and this one there is nothing. So these are the values you need to read when the car is not running. Now I'm going to actually start the engine, and we're gonna see what values you need to read at the fuel pressure sensor and on the injectors as well. Okay, so as I suspected, this pin here is basically the signal wire. And you could see on the injectors I could not find any voltage reading. Usually you're gonna find some readings, even though the signal is coming in form of a duty cycle. At idle, a diesel engine doesn't need a lot of fuel, so the duty cycle is so small that the voltmeter is not able to catch it. So I will basically need to increase the RPM in order to read at least some voltage. So if let's say 1% of the time we're gonna find 12 volts here and 99% of the time it's gonna be 0 volts, then the voltmeter it's not fast enough, so it's gonna read only 0 volts, and that's the explanation. Now the ignition is on. I want to see what voltage values are on this connector here. Still nothing. You can test if the fuses are blown or not. They are all of them 12 volts. Now let's say one injector is not firing for some reason, or you have a misfire. Obviously that misfire can be also because of a glow plug, but you want to do a resistance test. And as you can see, on a known good injector we need to see 0.5 ohms of resistance. Let's check it out on another injector. again 0.5 ohms of resistance. So if you have one of these professional scan tools, you can do some stuff on the injectors, like increasing or decreasing the idle speed. You can calibrate them, enter the new values for cylinder 1, reset correction values of injectors, and it says you have to clean the intake ports so they were not. Okay, so here you can increase the idle speed anyway and without programming. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay guys, so this is pretty much all you can do with the basic tools to check up the fuel delivery system. Obviously you can do a lot more if you have an oscilloscope, but with the tests I showed you, you can still determine what part is faulty, or if you have an electronic problem, for example a wire is disconnected or something like that. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, let me know. Check out the other videos I made about this Mini One with a diesel engine. Stay tuned and I will see you in the next video.